The great thing about these Amish mashed potato cakes is you can eat them any time of the day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, appetizer, or snack, and they are made from leftovers. I have 3 cups of leftover mashed potatoes. They already have some salt and pepper seasoning in the potatoes, but I'm adding just a little more. I'm adding in 1 large egg and a half a cup of breadcrumbs. This will help hold the potato cakes together. I'm adding in a couple chopped green onions for that hint of onion flavor. You can also use chopped chives or even some parsley. This is a half a cup of all-purpose flour. At this point you can go ahead and mix this, and it's great for the potato cakes. But tonight I'm adding in 2/3 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese for some cheesiness. Now I'm giving everything a good mix. In my skillet on medium heat, I have the bottom covered with oil for frying. I don't like to make the potato cakes too big, so I use a tablespoon and then flatten them out. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. These will take about 2 to 3 minutes to cook on each side. Keep an eye on the heat. I have an electric stove and I have the heat on a 7 to start, and then I adjust lower as needed. You want the crust to be a golden brown. When the potato cakes are done, place on a paper towel to drain any excess oil. Just a reminder that I will leave the recipe and the list of ingredients for these Amish potato cakes below this video. Also remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video recipe, and click the bell to make sure you receive notification of all my future video recipes. This recipe makes about 20 Amish mashed potato cakes. They are so easy to make. A nice crunchy crust, and inside delicious cheesy mashed potatoes with lots of flavor. You can serve these potato cakes with a dip or as a side dish with any meal. I hope you give these Amish potato cakes a try and enjoy. When I make pesto potatoes, it's always a winner with my family. I make homemade basil pesto with basil from my garden and freeze it in individual packets for dishes just like this. It's great for putting in sauces for over meats, pasta, rice, and potatoes. If you would like to see the video recipe for my homemade basil pesto, I will leave a link here and in the description box below this video. So let's get started. I am using about 2 pounds of diced bite-sized russet potatoes, and I left the skins on. I am cooking the potatoes in salt water until fork tender. You can also use red potatoes or any potatoes that you prefer for this recipe. In the meantime, I'm going to make the pesto dressing. In a large bowl, I have a half a cup of mayonnaise and a 1/4 cup of basil pesto. I am using my homemade pesto, but you can use your favorite store brand. It's all good. Giving that a good mix. I usually use Dijon mustard, but I ran out and I'm subbing with some prepared mustard. You use what you have. This is about a 1/4 cup of very thinly sliced red onion and a tablespoon of roughly chopped capers. These add a nice salty bite and balance. And finally, I'm adding a squeeze of lime for a pop of freshness. As you can see, there is a lot of flavor here, and the potatoes are just going to soak up all that wonderful, delicious pesto dressing. The potatoes are ready and fork tender. I drained them and now I'm adding them directly into the pesto dressing. I'm also adding in some chopped green onions and some salt and black pepper to taste. Giving that a good but gentle toss to get all those potatoes coated with that delicious homemade pesto dressing we just made. It really smells good, and I have everybody in the background just waiting to dig into dinner. Tonight I am serving with my oven-baked barbecue chicken and Harvard beets. If you would like to see those video recipes, I will again leave a link here and below this video. This is a great hot potato side dish. The creamy basil pesto dressing is so good and packed full of flavor. A delicious potato side dish for any meal. I hope you give these creamy pesto potatoes a try and enjoy. With Thanksgiving and the holiday season here, this creamy au gratin potatoes is a great side dish that you can stick in the oven along with your other dishes. This recipe is real easy to make, and everyone seems to love them. I have 4 large russet potatoes that I peeled and thinly sliced to about 1/8 of an inch thick. I have the potatoes in cold water so they don't turn brown, and then when I'm ready, I will drain them through a colander. Let's make the cheesy sauce. In my pan on medium heat, I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of butter, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of finely diced onions, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, bringing that up to a simmer and cooking for a minute. I'm making a roux, so I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, cooking and stirring for a minute or 2. Now I'm turning my heat up to a medium-high and slowly adding in about 1½ cups of milk. I'm adding the milk in batches, stirring and bringing up to a simmer in between. The sauce will thicken. Just a reminder that I will leave the recipe and the list of ingredients for this creamy Gruyere cheese au gratin potatoes below this video. Also remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video recipe, and click the bell to make sure you receive notification of all my future video recipes. Now for the cheese. I'm turning my heat off and adding in 8 ounces of grated Gruyere Swiss cheese, giving that a good stir until all the cheese is melted. This smells so good, and this is what you're looking for. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm making meatloaf, and I can be baking the potatoes and meatloaf at the same time, which is really convenient. The meatloaf is my copycat Cracker Barrel meatloaf recipe with some hard-boiled eggs stuffed inside. If you would like to see that video recipe, I will leave a link here and in the Show More section below. It is one of my favorite go-to recipes. I have a greased baking dish, and I'm layering with potatoes and seasoning with just a little salt. Not much because the cheese has a lot of salt. I'm grating over some Parmesan cheese and then pouring over about half of my sauce and spreading out to the edges. And I'm just going to repeat this layer, ending with the sauce on top. This is going into a 350 degree Fahrenheit oven for a total of 1 hour. After 30 minutes of cooking, I'm going to sprinkle the top with a handful or about 1/4 cup of grated Gruyere cheese. Then I'm popping it back into the oven and baking for another 30 minutes or until the top is golden brown and bubbly. The meatloaf is coming along nicely. I'm basting the top with my barbecue sauce, and this is going back into the oven. I started the Harvard beets, and they are looking delicious. Everything is smelling so good. The Gruyere cheese au gratin potatoes are done and piping hot. I'm decorating the top with some parsley and letting them cool off for about 15 minutes, and that will give me time to get everything ready. Some would call these scallop potatoes, but to me, since they have cheese, they are more au gratin potatoes. I do have plans to make some scallop potatoes, so please stay tuned for that video recipe. This is such an easy potato side dish to make. I love the cheesy sauce. Potatoes and Gruyere cheese are such a great combination. The potatoes are tender, and that sauce is so delicious and comforting. I'm serving with meatloaf and Harvard beets, but these au gratin potatoes would go with any meal. A real nice addition to the holiday table. I hope you give these creamy Gruyere cheese au gratin potatoes a try and enjoy. I'm wishing you all a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and there is truly a lot to be thankful for. If you like this video recipe, please hit the like and subscribe button. Remember to hit the bell next to the subscribe to make sure that you get my future video recipes. You can also find me on Facebook and at my website. Feel free to share this recipe and my channel with your friends and family. And until next time, much love!